Hi Chandra, let's take a look at your first essays. Let's see what you wrote, shall we? Nowadays, education is considered as one of the basic amenities of life. Moreover, schools play a vital role to perceive the knowledge in the early days for children. All right, well, not exactly. Schools play a vital role in transmitting knowledge in the early days of children. Okay, don't perceive. While many believe that schools are meant only for teaching academics, okay, that's not a full sentence. It's a half sentence. It's a fragment. So you really need to be careful here. Instead, I don't know what you're connecting this to. The previous sentence, the following sentence, I'm really not sure. Why don't we try it like this? So get rid of the while and then say, many believe that schools are meant only for teaching academics. However, some argue that educational institutions ought to be a happy and joyful place for learning. Much better. I strongly advocate the latter view, that the teaching of the academic curriculum should be holistic and interactive in schools, which will improve the learning outcome of the young people. All right, that's fine. Clear. Okay, yeah, some errors, but nothing too tragic. Let's go on. On the one hand, you can't say some section of people. Just make your life easy and say some people. It's the best, clearest way to say this, really. Okay. So, some people vouch for the change in the teaching mechanism in educational institutions. There are many reasons for this, such as, firstly, no capital here. It's one sentence. In this contemporary world, education has become a rat race. Students are forced to strive, STR, for excellence right from their childhood in schools as well as at home. This is mounting a lot of stress on their gentle minds. A recent study by the World Health Organization showed that there is a 60% increase in the suicide cases in the age group of 9 to 15 in India in the last decade due to pressure of exam success. These negative effects can be avoided by adopting more practical and experimental learning methodologies instead of conventional classroom teaching. Secondly, why do you say that? How do you know this? Are you so sure that it's the method of teaching and not just the stress of exams themselves? So I'm a little confused about this. Secondly, schools should help in instructing the students with curricular and extracurricular activities such as debates, role plays, creative writing, sports, and so on, which will improve the life skills such as teamwork and competitive spirit in the individuals. Careful here, in my view, this will make schools a blissful place for children to learn and grow. Okay, so rather than giving you my feedback right now, I'm going to wait to the end of this essay and we'll look at it all together, okay? On the other hand, there are others who argue that schools are to teach academics. For instance, students will get the required subject knowledge needed to flourish in fields such as science, engineering, commerce, economics, only at educational institutions. Okay. Careful here. You don't mean only educational institutions. You mean only at institutions that have a clear academic focus. Okay, this is what you mean, because the ones that provide entertainment are also academic institutions. So you have to be really careful about this. In addition, having a strong foundation of academics will always help children, not the children. The children is when we're referring to a specific group of children that the reader already knows about. You mean children in general, so know the. To reach top positions in the future. So, academic institutions should be concentrating on imbibing the required proficiency in every pupil rather than wasting time on other recreational and entertainment activities. Careful with your typing. However, I strongly contradict with this view. Okay, this sentence is really not appropriate here at all, okay? It doesn't help the develop of your paragraph. It just seems kind of out of left field. So I would suggest not including it at all. Instead, what you should do is just say, therefore, there is a strong belief by many that schools should be strictly academic institutions in order to prepare students for the future. Done. Okay? Let's get your conclusion. Okay, so conclusion now. To conclude, education is vital for upskilling individuals. Educational institutions should only be, this is the wrong word. Let's see, educational institutions should only be comprehending in a more creative and unconventional manner, which will enlighten the students to face the real challenges of the world. Okay, comprehending is absolutely the wrong word here. You could say institutions should only be educating in a more creative and unconventional manner, which will enlighten students, again, to face the real challenges of the world. Not this intern. I don't know what you mean, this intern. This is the wrong word completely. This makes schools a cheerful place to gain knowledge. All right. So now we can go into this. Clearly, there were a lot of mistakes with word choice. I can see that you really want to show that you have a wide range of vocabulary, and to an extent that's fine, but it's really important for most of that to be accurate. There were places where it absolutely was not. Apart from that, what I'm concerned about is two things here. The first one is the organization of your paragraphs. Let me tell you what I mean. You said that you think that schools should be entertaining. If that's the case, then this paragraph should come last, and this paragraph should come first. Okay? We always put the side that we agree with last, closer to conclusion. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, I already told you that I absolutely disagree with this sentence. It should have been something else. Now another thing, which is really, really important here, is the organization of this paragraph. The essay here is, not the organization, but the content, I should say. I apologize. The essay was, some people think that schools should be more entertaining, whereas others think they should be they should solely educate. Okay? You didn't talk to me about schools being entertaining places. Instead, you talked to me about why. You said there were many reasons. The essay never asked you, why should schools be entertaining? Okay, what are the reasons behind it? But discuss it. Discuss schools as places that provide entertainment. Okay, so you gave me all this background, like they have to strive for excellence, they have a lot of stress, they should help school. I mean, so you gave me the reasons why, but you never really discussed schools as places that provide entertainment. Do you understand the difference in focus? It's really a pretty big difference. Nobody asked you why something should be the case, but they asked you to discuss how this is in fact beneficial. To what extent do you agree? Yeah, schools should be educational. I'm sorry, schools should be entertaining. You never really did that, and then analyze how they could be entertaining and how this could help students. Okay, it's a totally different focus here, so we want you to be aware of that. All right, we have really spent a lot of time on this essay, so I'd like to go to your second one, which is doing an enjoyable activity compared to reading. This one seems shorter. Let's see. In the contemporary world, reading has become a vital literary skill to have as a child. All right, I don't really care for the word. Oops, sorry. Let's try that again. All right, there we go. I don't care for the word literary here. Where'd it go? There it is. I don't care for this word here, so I would get rid of it. I would just say a vital skill to have as a child. While some parents encourage their children to read and develop, no period, no capital. Many promote various engaging activities to build a wider range of skills. I'm a strong advocate of this approach. Full stop. In this essay, I will use examples from sports activities and drawing to illustrate my argument. Or, you could have said, I am a strong advocate of this approach, and in this essay, I will use examples, etc., etc. That's fine. But a comma itself is not enough. You do need a linker when you have two totally separate ideas like this. It's not a list. All right? So, firstly, educating a child to read will have numerous benefits. All right, well, what are they? What are the benefits? We've been talking about skills development and creativity. Are you going to analyze them? Perhaps you should. This way, when you talk about the skills that reading can give us, you can then say, yeah, these are great and these are important, but look how much better the other skills one can gain from other activities are. All right, if you chose to develop your essay like this, that would actually be a very good strategy. Let's see what you did. Firstly, educating a child to read will have numerous benefits. So the reason I say that is because the way you phrased it here like this, I'm expecting then to read the benefits. I want you to remember that this is your topic sentence, so this is more or less an introduction to your paragraph. If your central idea is this, then it's appropriate. But I can see that the next word here is nevertheless, which leads me to believe that this in fact is not your main idea. All right, so you have to really reconsider this sentence in the way you phrased it. I'm not saying that you can't do what you're trying to do, but the way you have done it is a little misleading. You make the reader think that you're going to talk about reading. Let's move on. Playing games on a PlayStation would be more entertaining for children. Again, no the. Why is it more entertaining? Explain it to me. In addition to that, it helps to develop skills such as reflexes with an E and spatial awareness. This is largely because these sports, they're not sports. PlayStation is not sports. These games require gamers to maneuver an object within a fixed space. For example, a recent study conducted by Oxford University without the showed that children experiencing game consoles, no, have outsmarted their peers in sports such as volleyball and football. This indicates the development of strong cognitive abilities, linked to sports. Okay, interesting. Let's see what you write next. Secondly, captivating activities such as creative writing or painting can bring out the creative side in a child. This is due to the fact that these require no S. Where'd you go? There you are. Creation and expression of a visual experience. For instance, a recent survey conducted by the Ministry of Human Resource Development of India found that 70% of the children who practice painting in schools excelled in the professions in professions requiring creativity, including architecture, design, and fashion. Therefore, this demonstrates that the practice of art at an early age develops a creative adult. To conclude, being a staunch supporter of this non-reading approach, I am not vehemently opposed to it, and I strongly recommend the practice of a number of childhood activities which will enhance the abilities of a child. I'm confused by this sentence to a great degree. Let's talk about why. I am a staunch supporter of this non-reading approach. I am not vehemently opposed to it. Well, if you're a staunch supporter, then that's implied that you're not vehemently opposed to it. So this seems to me superfluous, and it does not belong here at all. I mean, it has no business being here. So let's get rid of it and say instead, to conclude, being a staunch supporter of this non-reading approach, I strongly recommend the practice of a number of childhood activities which will enhance the abilities of a child. It is predicted that the future of the education system will be more creative and interactive learning. And no, it will not be more creative and interactive learning, but it will promote more creative and interactive learning rather than traditional reading practices. Okay, fine. So there's some good things here. There's some things that need a little work. Some things that definitely need to be reviewed, revised, and corrected. So that's what you need to do next. You need to correct these essays, and you need to send them back to us corrected. Next, you have to create an error correction list where you write down the mistakes you made, and then next to each error, write what the corrected version is. This is a list you're going to add to with each subsequent essay correction you receive. Send this list back to us. Then you also have to do your next set of essays. Try to do everything within the next 24 hours or so you can really apply everything you've been learning. Okay? I'll be waiting to see what you write, so good luck to you, and I'm waiting to see what you write next.